John, J-O-H-N. I'm in North Shropshire, 40 kilometres-ish northwest of Birmingham. How are you copying me from G4ANS?
Yeah, G4ANS from Oscar November 7 Oscar Fox Fox. You're coming in here with a 5 and 9 plus 10 dB. Very good copy here in Belgium. I'm also a friend of John there that you heard just before the German station, but he's gone QRT. I was just WLing, but I was a little bit too slow on the G to get to say hello to him. Fine business, 5.9 plus 10, so very good signal from the UK. My first name is Kurt, Kilo Uniform, Romeo Tango, like Kurt Cobain. And I'm using exactly the same radio as John is using, the Hermes Light number 2, so that's what I'm using over here. Back to you there, John. This is ON7OFF. Back to you. Golf 4 Alpha November Sierra. Over.
Okay, fine. All copied, Kurt, from G4 Alpha November Sierra. Okay, well, the Hermes sounds good. Sounds a little bassy. In fact, it sounds more pleasant to listen to than the other two Hermes radios I've talked to. So maybe you have a slightly different microphone, Kurt, but excellent signal. You are peaking 10 over. I don't recall working at Hermes before. I may well have done. But this is a third in the night, Kurt. So I don't know if it's a fairly new radio. John said it was available and then stopped being available. And then suddenly became available again, so he grabbed one. So maybe they've just launched big time onto the market. Kurt, lovely signal, peaking 10 over. On 7OFF G4ANS.
Yeah, QSL, yeah. Well, actually, it's been around for quite some time, but there was a shortage of the processors that they needed to build the radio of. So actually, it's a radio that is built around a processor that has been used not really for radio, but it has been used for broadband routers. And what happened is that they were short on getting these broadband router processors to build the radio. It's actually an open source hardware and software radio device, and the radio itself is pretty inexpensive because they sell it for 350 euros. So it's very fairly inexpensive. And actually what happened is that during the COVID period, some clever guys, they just started to build more on the software side, and they had a little bit more time on their hands. And from one thing came another thing, and it became quite popular. So we are using the same software that is used for the Anan radios, which actually cost about $2,000, so it's very expensive. But this little radio works on the same software. There's a few features that you don't have, but in my opinion, it does not really justify the extra cost to buy an Anan, because, you can do exactly the same thing. And it's an old audio chain thing, so there's a lot of things going on in the software, and it makes it a very good radio, especially also on the audio side. It has a lot of features. The receive is also very good and very clean and very quiet. So we have a lot of processing also on the receive side. So you basically filter out almost the entire ground for noise. And a new feature has been implemented recently. They've added AI, artificial intelligence, on the receive side, so you can enable this particular filter as well, taking out virtually every single noise that you might get from the hiss of a single sideband. And when you listen to the single sideband with the AI engaged, you virtually hear nothing. So it's like listening to an FM. And when there's anything that starts to pop up, you will hear it right away. So Yeah, it's a steep learning curve. It's not a plug-and-play radio, obviously. You need some time to get through the hassle to make things work. But once you get it work, it's a fantastic radio. So there you are. I'm just giving you some insight, John, on how it works. I got a lot of things on my YouTube channel. I'm talking about the Hermes Light a lot and giving the details for people who want to go and get more, or get started with it. Back to you there, John. Call 4 Alpha November Sierra from Oscar November 7 Oscar Foxtrot Foxtrot. Over.
ON7OFF. On G4ANS. Okay, Kurt, all copied. There is some fading on your signal. You're going down to a 9 sometimes, but you're peaking 20 over. So that's not 5 watts, Kurt, is it? How much power are you running, huh?
Yeah, I'm running about 400 watts right now. I can even go further, but I'm just running 400 watts. I have just my OM2000 plus in line. I have an extra preamplifier, you can call it, so I've got a cascading amplifier solution here, which bring up the traditional 5 watts to about 25 watts. I have the the Micro PA50, which is quite inexpensive as well. It's only $180. But if I turn that one on, I can go to the legal limit easily.
Okay, sir. There's a little bit of breaking at the end of that transmission, Kurt. There's something slightly intermittent, but that's just... Now, this AI is interesting. So with some bands, I pick up a lot of white noise. It's from the VDSL, it's from the internet lines running over the field of the street here. But it sounds white noise, so it's covering, the entire bandwidth. So can the AI get rid of a lot of that noise and pick up the SSB, bearing in mind that the noise is occupying the whole bandwidth, Kurt, over?
The AI is not going to filter out that kind of noise. Well, you will not hear anything if you engage it, but there is also a supplemental feature in the software. If you have 2 of these devices, you can use diversity. So that means it's like, what do you call it? There is another feature, but it's software controlled. So you can actually have a secondary device as a secondary receiver with an auxiliary antenna. And if you have got some kind of noise that is human generated, like QRM that is locally can be picked up with a secondary antenna, you can use the software, and it's called diversity, and it will filter out everything. It will just completely filter it out. It's like ANC. I'm not sure if you're familiar with ANC on headphones. If you got some environmental noise, like noise around you, the microphone will pick it up and it will cancel out the noise. It will just create an anti-noise, if you can call it that way, and it will silence everything. So it's the same principle that you have in the diversity option that you have if you have a secondary of this receiver or transceiver. So yeah, it's quite interesting. I'm just looking into maybe buying a second one and play around with the diversity with the software. It's inherent in the TTIS software. So TTIS is the software that we use. Back to you there, John. Golf 4 Alpha November Sierra, ON7OFF, over.
From G4ANS. Okay, Kurt, yes, all copied and all understood. Yes, I can see that working with a known signal. For instance, if there is some inverter noise, or electric vehicle charging station nearby, or something like that, then picked up twice cancel out. That's fair enough. But this sounds like very random whitish noise in that bandwidth. So I've not tried anything clever to get rid of a noise. But Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, good signal, Kurt. I can see you speak 6 languages, with English as the third or fourth most fluent. So that's very impressive, Kurt. And yes, it takes some brain bandwidth to do that. Because I see Thai is one of them, more fluent than English. So I'm very impressed, Kurt. Over.
Yeah, QSL. Yeah, my XYL is from Thailand. I've been going to Thailand for a long time. It's been 20 something years. I'm going on and off, and it has to do with my job. I'm getting my my packaging materials and bottles and everything from there. Every year I go there, and after so many years, I picked up the language. So yeah, it's something that gradually you learn the language just by going there. And at the same time, every year in the winter, like January, February, I'm there. So you start to pick up, and I decided to learn the language just by myself. I haven't done any schooling or anything, but it's a tone language, so obviously you need to have the tone right as well. And I went on internet many years ago. I checked for the 5,000 most used words in any language. So actually just like a list of it. And I decided to get some software, and I took these words, put them one by one on in an MP3 file. So I was translating from Dutch because my mother tongue is Dutch. I then translated into Thai language, and I made one MP3 file. So actually, I said the auto Rokyom, which is in Thai, and then I translated it from Dutch to Thai with some a few seconds of silence. And then a few seconds after, I have the Thai translation and did it in the reverse direction. And then I did it for 50 words, another 50 words, and I just went on for another 100 times. I got these 5,000 words, and from there on I started to learn the language. So, because Klai, and Klai is not the same. It has different meaning. It's a tone language, so there's 5 different tones. And it's something that we, as a European, we do not really understand. So it needs some time to actually grasp that there is a difference. But yeah, I picked up the language, and I'm quite fluent right now. So I can also read. I've been learning to read the script. It's a phonetic script actually that they use. And yeah, from there on, it seemed to work because everybody in Thailand they find it quite interesting that I can speak Thai fluently like they do. It's a little bit like a small kid that goes to school or grows up, and you learn from your mom and dad who is speaking English. And you pick up the words and you hear it like 100 times, 1,000 times, and finally start to understand what's the meaning of the word, and also you have it right. So there you are. So that's how I did it. Back to you there, John. Golf 4 Alpha November Sierra ON7OFF.
G4ANS. Yeah, that's very impressive. So English is excellent. You have a very good command of English quite clearly. And if that is your third best language, not including Dutch, I assume that list of 6 languages in ascending order, descending order. Then that's very impressive. Now, if you're making your own translation tapes, you can choose your speed, can't you? Because in years gone by, when I've dabbled in German, the tapes, the speaking was way too fast. Of course, in those days it was just cassette tape, so I couldn't do much about it. Why we have to be speaking so fast, I don't know. So that's very impressive. So your business is to do bottles, Kurt. To mine then becomes either alcohol or perfume, over.
Yeah, well, the bottles themselves, they're actually made in China. But the problem is that the minimum quantity order that you need to purchase from China is way too high. It's beyond the quantity that I require every year. So there are a couple of guys who actually resell them back in Thailand, so I can buy them from there. And there are also protection against misery that you might have if you buy these bottles straight from China and things are going wrong and they're leaking or there's issues with the sprayers or whatever, because these guys, they buy them, and if there is an issue, well, they will take responsibility for it, and I will check it out before actually. I'm going there every year. I'm packing all the stuff up in boxes and ship them with a LCL container with a less than a container load, and that's how it goes. I'm actually registering myself every year at the customs to be an exporter, but on my tourist visa, because I'm just going there as a tourist. But yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years, and it went all right. But I'm on the verge maybe of changing my job. I'm not sure. I'm just, trying to figure out. I was in IT before. I was a network engineer. So I still have that IT background that I have, and I would maybe just go back in IT. Just because I want to get a little bit of more of a relaxed life. I'm 52 now, almost 53. And I want to just, enjoy life a little bit more instead of, being bound to the job, going to the market, all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, we'll see. I feel like, I try to take as much as I can from my freedom. I don't have any children to take care of, so there you are. Back to you there, John. Golf 4 Alpha November Sierra, ON7OFF.
Okay. Well, I took the time to look at your QRZ page, Kurt, and I can see a lovely picture of you and your good lady wife in Thailand. It looks a beautiful place. And below it is your perfume store. So that's to make the chemicals of a perfume, Kurt. Do you have a small chemical facility, or do you arrange for someone else to do that and you fill the bottles, over?
Yeah, okay. So actually what is happening, these are my formulas. I also have to outsource a few things because, certain of the ingredients you need to have the proper licenses to actually store them or, mix them. So some things are, how could I say, they are outsourced. But actually, when you look at my stall, there is about 78 different perfume accords that I've been creating, and I mix them together. And when customer comes to my shop, I actually mix the perfume right in front of their eyes and their nose, if I can call it that way. So that's actually what I'm doing. I've been doing this for the past 20-something years now. So actually, I'm doing this for quite a long time, and I'm mixing it right in front of the customer's eyes and nose, but it's on the handicraft market in Brussels. But I'm getting a little bit too tired to do it because it's a very labor-intensive job. It makes money, so it's not that financially it's not it's good. I'm selling very well. But it's very, very labor intensive, and the market runs every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's about 12 hours that you're on your feet just trying to sell. And after 20 years, I think I've seen it, so I'm a little bit tired of it. So I would like to do something else. I try to explore new, how could I say, challenges in life, mate. So, but we'll see. We'll make some decision. Maybe I'll just do a career break after all. I'm not sure. Because as I told you, me and my wife, we don't have children. So, why work the hell out of your life when you can just enjoy a little bit, I always think like, when you're young, you actually have a lot of time you have good health, but you don't have money. But once you start the rat race around your, after you finish your schooling and university, whatever you do, then you're in the rat race. You have a lot of money, but you don't have time, and you still have your health. And once you get your age of 67, this is the age of retirement these days here in Belgium. You've got a lot of money. You got a lot of time, but probably your health is not going to be with you anymore. So if I talk with people that are in their 80s, and I just ask them, what's your best advice? They just tell me, make time, because you have money, you've got your health. And that's what I want to do. So I'm at this point in life, mate. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, Kurt. And you got some interesting chickens there as well. Quite fascinating chickens. I bet they could be bred and sold for ducks. So yes, you're very right, Kurt. It's nice to have the time. It's nice to have the energy when you're young. It's nice to have the time when older, that one needs both at the same time. But I think keep as fit as possible. If you run your feet for 12 hours a day, Kurt, and you do other things, then you've clearly get around, so you've got a Thai license. The trick is to keep fit. So I retired last year, Kurt. Retirement age in the UK is 66 for both male and female. Some 10 or more years ago, 15 years ago, it was 60 for women and 65 for men. And we were told it was going to be equalised, and we all thought, oh yes, it'll be 63 then. Oh no, it's 66. So I worked till 67, although the last few years were part-time. And I'm now 68, Kurt, so I'm past your retirement age, but I've kept fit. And that is so important. So at the moment, I'm on the downward curve for health, but not too fast downwards, fortunately. And the wealth is on the upward curve. So I managed to, put the two together, and I managed to peak. You keep active whilst young, Kurt. That is so important. I did the sport. I played the tennis and walked a heck of a lot. And that is really important. You got a nice antenna phone there, Kurt. Nice quad above the chicken run.